World leaders have rallied around the United Nations for an initiative to help the most vulnerable countries gain access to vaccines, diagnostics and treatment tools for the coronavirus as soon as they emerge. Noticeably absent, the United States, which is the hardest hit country in the world, and China, where the virus first appeared. The World Health Organization's chief Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said the agency is teaming up with countries and partners worldwide to accelerate work on drugs and a vaccine for COVID-19, the disease caused by the coronavirus. Africa's coronavirus cases have surged 43% in the past week, but its countries are dangerously behind in the global race for scarce medical equipment. 10 nations have no ventilators at all. John Nkengasong, director of the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, said the continent is competing with the developed world in terms of obtaining supplies and equipment. The very future of the continent will depend on how this matter is handled. The death toll in the United States surpassed 51,000 amid more than 890,000 cases. But the number of daily deaths in New York has gone down, with 422 reported on Friday, the lowest since April 1. Close to 196,000 people have died due to the pandemic, with 2.7 million infected globally, out of whom almost some 781,000 have recovered. Saturday, April 25, Maryland sends out emergency alert after Trump disinfectant comments. The U.S. state of Maryland has sent out an alert telling residents that under no circumstances should any disinfectant product be administered into the body through injection, ingestion or any other route. The message, posted on Twitter on Friday, comes after President Donald Trump in a Thursday press conference asked his administration's medical experts to look into injecting disinfectants into the body to kill the coronavirus or exposing the body to ultraviolet light. Experts have said the statements were dangerous and should not be tried under any circumstances. Trump later claimed he was being sarcastic and falsely said that only made the comments in response to a reporter's question. The president had made the comments without solicitation while looking at his coronavirus response coordinator Dr. Deborah Birx and Department of Homeland Security science official Bill Bryan. Maryland had reportedly received over 100 calls to its coronavirus hotline asking about the president's comments. Thailand reports 53 new cases, 1 new death. Thailand has reported 53 new coronavirus cases and the death of a 48-year-old Thai man who was infected with the virus along with 4 other family members. Of the new cases, 3 were linked to previous cases, 1 had no known links, and 42 are migrant workers who have been under quarantine at an immigration detention center in the southern province of Songkhla. 7 other new cases were reported from the southern province of Yala, where authorities are aggressively testing the population because of high infection rates there, said Tawisan Wisanuyothan, a spokesman for the government's Center for Coronavirus Situation Administration. Since the outbreak escalated in January, Thailand has reported a total of 2,907 cases and 51 deaths, while 2,547 patients have recovered and gone home. UN Special Rapporteur sounds alarm on response to coronavirus. The United Nations Special Rapporteur on Freedom of Opinion and Expression has sounded the alarm over some of the response to the global health emergency following the coronavirus pandemic. In a social media post on Saturday, David Kaye showed a summary of his report to the UN Human Rights Council, which concluded that some policies carried out to help contain the deadly disease may be failing to meet the standards of legality, necessity and proportionality. He wrote in the summary that access to information, independent media and other free expression rights are critical to meeting the challenges of the pandemic. Nearly 60 new coronavirus cases confirmed on cruise ship in Japan. Nearly 60 new cases of coronavirus infections were confirmed among crew members of an Italian cruise ship docked in Japan, domestic media reported on Saturday. With testing of all crew members now complete, the new number, reported by public broadcaster NHK, brings the total infections on board the Costa Atlantica to around 150, roughly one-quarter of the vessel's 623 crew members. TV Asahi said 57 crew members tested positive. The infection cluster on board the vessel docked in Nagasaki comes as hospitals are running out of beds in some parts of Japan, where the national tally of virus cases has risen above 12,800. Some 345 people have died, according to Reuters news agency. Vanuatu defies coronavirus shutdown with women's cricket final. The Pacific island nation of Vanuatu is defying the coronavirus-led shutdown of global sport by scheduling their Women's Super League cricket final and streaming it on social media on Saturday, Reuters news agency reported. Most sport around the world, including all international cricket, has been brought to a halt because of the social distancing measures put in place to control the pandemic. Vanuatu, some 2,000 kilometers (1,242 miles) off the east coast of Australia, has a population of 300,000 but has not yet recorded a single case of COVID-19. "We're lucky here in Vanuatu and life is returning to normal, so we thought it was our duty to provide the world with some live sport," Shane Dietz, chief executive of Vanuatu Cricket, said in a video posted on Twitter. Senior official cited by Trump as subject of investigation. The senior Department of Homeland Security (DHS) official who was thrust into the spotlight by U.S. President Donald Trump to describe the effects of temperature on COVID-19 has been the subject of misconduct allegations for his previous government work. A Department of Energy Inspector General investigation was still pending on Friday based on evidence submitted by a whistleblower that William Bryan abused his government position with energy consulting work in Ukraine. It is unclear if Trump was aware of that investigation when he called on Bryan at his daily briefing Thursday to explain DHS research that prompted a presidential riff on the potential to cure the virus with disinfectant and kill it with sunlight. Bryan has been acting Undersecretary for the DHS Science and Technology Directorate since May 2017. Before that, he was president of a consulting firm in Virginia, following previous work with the Department of Energy. China reports 12 new coronavirus cases, no new deaths. China reported 12 new coronavirus cases on April 24 compared with 6 new cases on the previous day, National Health Commission data showed on Saturday. Of the new cases, 11 were imported. The Commission also reported 29 new asymptomatic cases, slightly down from the previous day's tally of 34. 4 of these cases were imported. The total number of confirmed cases in China is now 82,816. The death toll remained the same at 4,632, with no new deaths reported on April 24. Polish health minister says safest to delay May election. Poland's health minister, who is also a cardiologist, has said that delaying the country's presidential election until 2022 would be the only safe option given the coronavirus pandemic. One option would be to put this whole issue on hold for 2 years and really deal with the epidemic. I think that's the best option and I recommend it, Minister Dr. Łukasz Zamoyski told Poland's Polsat commercial television. Despite pressure from the opposition, medical workers, the majority of the public and even members and allies of the ruling Conservative Party, the government has refused to postpone the May 10 ballot. President Andrzej Duda is running for re-election in the polls. IMF approves $309 million in aid for Mozambique. The International Monetary Fund (IMF) has announced the payment of emergency aid of $309 million to Mozambique to help fight the coronavirus pandemic. The pandemic should have a significant impact on the economy of Mozambique, halting an emerging recovery after two powerful tropical cyclones that struck in 2019, the institution said in a statement. U.S. Navy wants to reinstate fired captain of aircraft carrier, report. In an extraordinary reversal, the U.S. Navy has recommended reinstating the fired captain of the coronavirus-hit aircraft carrier Theodore Roosevelt, whose crew hailed him as their hero for risking his job to safeguard their lives, officials told Reuters news agency. The Navy's leadership made the recommendation to reinstate Captain Brett Crozier to Defense Secretary Mark Esper on Friday, just 3 weeks after Crozier was relieved of command after the leak of a letter he wrote calling on the Navy for stronger measures to protect the crew, the officials said, speaking on condition of anonymity. The Pentagon issued a statement acknowledging Esper received the results of the Navy's preliminary inquiry into the Roosevelt incident. But it added that Esper wanted to review a written copy of the completed inquiry. Mexico coronavirus cases, deaths continue to rise. Mexico's health ministry has confirmed a total of 12,872 coronavirus cases across the country. The ministry also said the number of deaths has reached 1,221. Britain starts plasma trial against coronavirus. Britain is to start trials to see whether plasma collected from donors who have recovered from coronavirus could be an effective treatment for patients who are severely unwell with the disease, Reuters news agency reported. Up to 5,000 severely ill patients with coronavirus could soon be treated each week with plasma as part of a new approach to treating the virus, the health department said on Saturday. Plasma from recovered coronavirus patients can be transfused to patients who are struggling to produce their own antibodies against the virus.